Hey gang, got another one for you, mission 13 this time, the gate, and this one is a mixture of fun and frustrating because there's a couple really cool things you can do with it, but there's also an objective to destroy all the red team's buildings, which you already know I hate, and takes about 100 years to do. So straight up, first thing we're going to do is send a couple creatures to the west because there's 2 sound beam towers and an anti-air tower, and if you destroy them, you gain control of some buildings. Now, I'm not really interested in those buildings for the most part, but I do want to scuttle them for the resources, so this is like a kind of strange early game. Normally we just rush gyrocopter. We're not doing that this time, so we're going to send 2 level 1s out here. As soon as those level 1s are built, we're going to destroy that chamber and recoup the resources. You don't have to do this. This is the first objective of the mission, but you can just not do it, and it will still complete the mission, even though you have an objective incomplete, because IC is just like that sometimes, you know? So we got one henchman building a rod here, and as soon as he's done building that rod, he's just going to run into the enemy base, because the main conceit of this mission is there's a lot of very strong creatures, level 5 creatures roaming around the map on this mission, and the conceit is that in order to control such powerful creatures, the enemy, the blue team, needs to use this creature controller structure. The conceit is if you destroy that structure, they lose control of the creatures, and that happens, but not quite chronologically as you might expect. You'll see in a moment. Okay, so we're going to destroy... Had Rex tank the sound beams for these 2 level 1 creatures. Then as soon as the sound beams are dead and that anti-air tower is dead, you get these structures. I upgrade the generator. It's also the only time this whole campaign when you actually get to see me use a generator. Because we're actually going to go to level 3 for this one. Not sure if that's the best way to go, but that's what we do. Okay, running Rex into the base now. Holy shit. Okay, this is bad. We've got a lot of level 5 creatures. Looks like Rex is going to die. Oh shit, here he gets swooped. One more swoop and he's dead. Oh shit, but what's this? No aggro. What is this Eden we've found here? Okay, so what happens here is, it's one of my favorite dumb triggers in the whole campaign. If you have an entity, a structure, unit, or foundation even, within 30 meters of that creature controller, which was that funny looking building, then all of those large creatures receive every single frame that you have things within 30 meters of that creature controller, those creatures receive an order to attack move towards the location of the creature controller. But that means they're getting that order every single frame, which means they only just have time to acquire their target and start moving towards it, and then they're suddenly commanded to acquire their targets again. Just having Rex move so that that sperm whale will get off the foundation. We've hit level 3, so they're about to start building. This is pretty goddamn clutch. Yeah, as close as I've ever come to failing that. But we made all the tiles impossible. So yeah, they get the command to attack move every single frame. And that's absolutely hilarious, because that just means they just menace you. They just keep like inching towards you, and they never actually get the opportunity to attack you. Yeah, I'm going to finish building that. They never get the opportunity to attack you as long as you have something within 30 meters of that. Now, as soon as you destroy that creature controller, that aggro is restored because they're no longer getting that order every single frame. So you want to destroy this creature controller as slowly as possible. Now, the reason you do this is because this mission kind of sucks. There's this hard-coded wave of creatures, quote-unquote Goliath creatures, even though it's just 2 Komodo dragon chimps and a sperm whale, and that spawns around 10 minutes of game time in. You can't make that spawn any quicker or slower. It's just a slightly randomized timer. And until you defeat that wave, if you defeat this creature controller, nothing happens. But once you've completed that wave and you've destroyed that creature controller, then suddenly you get control of these giant creatures, because the canon of the mission is Rex is suddenly controlling them directly. Now that of course means that there is no impetus whatsoever to destroy this creature controller before the 10-minute mark. Here we go. I'm trying to slot Rex. There you go. Slot Rex into an avenue between the trees there, which is safe, that he can hide out in. We're also going to build some creature chambers while we go level 3. And we've got 14 henchmen mining coal. That's important. It's a lot, but we need it. Okay, this brave little thug hanging out under these eagle sharks is he's just going to do the whole job. He's going to destroy that entire creature controller on his own. It's got like 18k health, so it takes him forever, but that's fine because he can take 10 minutes. No worries. Too easy. Rex is holding some aggro there. That works really well up until they start making archer fish cheetahs, which is kind of RNG. Sometimes they start making them really quickly, sometimes they take ages to make them. They're going to start making flyers as well, and that's another reason this mission is super hard, because they make eel dragonflies, which are not good, but they have electric burst, which is insanely good in campaign, but only really good against creatures, so it's not too useful for us. We're just upgrading these lion eels now because we're not going to have Rex tanking sound beams for them for most of the time, but because they're level 3s, that's pretty much fine. We don't really worry about that. Here we go, more lion eels, more lion eels. Now, here comes the bread and butter of the mission, is destroying every single red building on the map, which sucks. Can have the henchman go do some scouting now. Poor brave Lord Clarence is going to meet his end. But so we start the attack, and there's a whole bunch. Okay, here we go. This is where things start going a little bit south for me, because I start getting attacked. Yeah, just doing some hotkeys. Yeah, by these creatures that were guarding base. Normally you draw those out with Rex, but for some reason they just elected not to come this time. Okay, so they've started making these cheaters, and I had Rex positioned such that they accidentally friendly fire all of their own melee units. Yep, there's the henchman dead. Shame, he would have been a useful scout, but it doesn't really matter, because these guys can take out all those little units relatively easily. What they do struggle with is these artillery, these cheater archerfish, which is why I'm just tanking as many of them with Rex for as long as possible while I build up my army. And they're so expensive as well, it's worth pointing out. I've got 14 henchmen mining coal and I still can't quite produce these things constantly. Come on Rex, tank a few more. And note that they are also building quite a large army of these goddamn archerfish. We're going to go straight for lab so that we can kind of cut off their resources as quickly as possible. Now things are starting to get a little bit tight for Rex here, so we're going to run him into the ocean and find the killer whale, which is the only stock to gather in this mission. Great stock, it's a shame we don't get the opportunity to use it. Okay, yeah, we're just going to kill a few of these. Yep. And now we want to keep, I would have liked to keep building this army a bit faster. That's kind of the main problem with this run, is that the micromanagement and control of this army's growth is not phenomenal. I believe we can do this mission considerably faster than I did. I did it in around 14 minutes game time. Probably 13, maybe 12 and a half minutes is possible. Rex is swimming up north, trying to find that killer whale. He's also going to distract a sound beam for a while he's up there. And here comes that 10-minute in trigger. Those Goliath creatures are now walking towards the lab. It's not too much to worry about, because like I say, it's just 2 Komodo chimps and a sperm whale gorilla. And the way we're going to kill them is, well, we have Rex all the way down here and all our creatures are away from base, so what's the solution? Well, it's a pretty easy solution. We've got 14 henchmen and we're just going to punch these bastards to death. Now, the reason this works is, as you'll see shortly, when you get around 14 henchmen, you can do fewer, but 14 is a good number for it. As you get 14 henchmen around a creature and you start punching it to death, it can't decide which henchman to target, and it will just spin around in a circle. It changes its aggro so often that it never actually has the opportunity to get an attack off. See this? What's up? What's going on? What's wrong, buddy? So that means you can kill that sperm whale with henchmen. There you go. He's dead now, without losing any henchmen whatsoever, which is super useful. Now you can see this guy, I mistimed it a little bit, so he isn't quite done destroying the creature controller yet, but that's fine because he'll only take another second. We've just now, all we've got left to do is destroy an awful lot of buildings. We've already taken out most of the ones on the cliff. Here we go. That's the creature controller destroyed. And now I have control over all these quote-unquote giant creatures, which is pretty sick, because like we never make level 5s in this whole speedrun, so it's kind of nice to get the opportunity to use some sperm whales. There you go. That chamber is still locked out, so the blue team still has no way of building anything. That particular strat, the one where I was building fences to stop him from getting to the creature chamber, that's called the move along strat, and it's super handy because they will not detonate that creature chamber because it's not complete, therefore they don't get the message that there is no space to spawn creatures, because they can't spawn creatures because the chamber's not complete. But that means they won't destroy the chamber, and because there is a foundation placed, and that tells them that they have a creature chamber, that means they will never be prompted to build another creature chamber. So for as long as that chamber is fully fenced, that's them. That's the absolute ball game for them. They will not build any creatures or creature chambers for the rest of the mission, which is super, super handy. Sadly not an option when dealing with the reds, because they get 3 chambers at the very beginning of the mission and fencing them all takes too long. It's worth noting that you can actually fence the enemy's lab on this mission, and that might actually shave a few seconds off your time if your henchman doesn't die like mine did. Could be really useful, definitely worth investigating. Also to note is, if you cut off the red enemy's economy quickly enough, they will start destroying their own chambers for coal, which can be useful, but didn't really come into play for this particular run. So that's it, that's the mission done, about 14 minutes, pretty good run, definite room for improvement. Thanks for watching, we're nearly finished now, just a couple missions to go. Cheers, bye.